Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Faith, Fitness, and Fastballs. I have a special guest here today, my brother Jordan Jackson. How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing good, doing good, doing good. I'm glad to be on here. Glad to be
For
on here
sure.
with you. I knew it was gonna come down to it. I knew I was gonna
Yep.
get on here at some time, so I'm glad, sooner than later.
Yep, definitely. No, for sure. You already know I had to get you on here, man. So,
Yeah,
your story and perspective is definitely something people need to hear. And you've been there with me throughout this whole entire way, and obviously, with, vice versa. So, I would think people hearing your story would be great. Basically, let's get into it, man. Tell us a
yeah,
little bit about, your upbringing. Tell us about, you in high school, and then kind of, go from there.
yeah. Well, I feel like in high school, I started off kind of as I would say as a late bloomer. I
Mm-hmm.
was, you know, really tall, but really, wasn't really developed yet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would say, yeah, that's why I took the JUCO route out of high school. I mean, it wasn't the ideal route for me in high school. Looking back at it, um, when I was in high school, it wasn't the ideal route, but it was actually a route that I needed to take because
Mm-hmm.
um, it was an eye opener for me.
Definitely.
Yeah, and once I got to JUCO, I ended up going to Spartanburg Methodist, as you know, one of the better, I would say, better JUCOs in South Carolina.
Yeah,
Wasn't really. I don't want to get into it too much, but I mean, wasn't really a lot of people looking at me out of high school. Just solely because I was a late bloomer.
yeah,
People didn't want to take a chance on me too as well.
yeah.
Ended up going to Spartanburg Methodist at the time. It wasn't like I was saying, it wasn't an ideal route, but looking back at it, it was a route that I think was really good for me,
For sure.
especially going to one of the better, I would say, better JUCOs in the Southeast.
For sure.
I mean, you know, it set me up perfectly to go to Georgia Southern,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll get into all that and where I went to Georgia State or committed to Georgia State and
Yep.
then really, kind of wanted to go elsewhere.
Right.
And that's when I decommitted from Georgia State and ended up going to Georgia Southern. And so, yeah.
Yeah,
And
for
then that's
sure.
all I got to,
Yeah, yeah.
finish. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, no, and so yeah, no, exactly. I mean, from my perspective, you had, great pitch selection, you had the pitches, but in high school, yeah, a little bit late bloomer, but you were a great pitcher, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
From what I remember. And just with certain circumstances, um JUCO was a good route for you. Talk about when you got to junior college. What was that first day like? What was that first week like for you in school? Now you're in school. No, mom and dad are not there. I'm not there. It's you. Who? What was that first week like?
I would say the first week was an eye opener just because it's like it's new everything. Like it's new people that I have to meet. It's new coaches that I had to meet. It's a small school as well, so I had to. The it wasn't the typical Division 1 that I wanted to go to, but
Right.
um, it really like humbled me kind of just to
Mm-hmm.
know that it's not going to be like I'm gonna have to put my head down and grind to get to
Right.
where I want to. And yeah, that's what I mean. It really taught me that like if I want to get out of here, I have to stay consistent, put my head down and just grind.
Right. No, for sure. Because I think a lot of people forget that, when it comes to junior college, I mean, you came in as a high school senior, but you guys also had people coming from D1 schools or who committed to D1
Yeah,
schools that came to y'all. So the competition was definitely there.
yeah, and that also opened my eyes too because it was a combination of high school seniors and a combination of uh, D1 transfers that
Yep.
are also trying to make it out, and
Yep.
they are getting a second chance. So I mean, it's really you're competing for everything, and the D1 guys, they went D1 for a reason. Like they're really good.
Exactly.
They're they're coming to JUCO to they're going to take spots. So
Yeah.
that was also a real eye opener to me as well.
For sure, for sure. And I so and then so going into, your freshman year, you did your thing, and it seems like you took a jump your sophomore year of junior college. Your velo went up a little bit. You started to, win a lot more games. They relied on you a lot more. What do you think that difference was, whether it was in your body or was in your pitch selection or just pitchability? What was that jump just from that freshman year of college to your sophomore year? What did that look like for you?
I think going into it, I think freshman year, it was like I was saying, I was still very new to everything. I didn't
Right.
just trying to get my feet wet at my freshman year because we had a lot of good people my freshman year. So
Yeah.
um, and ultimately that kind of pushed me to the back of the rotation, but
Yeah.
still being able to do what I can do. And then I would say once I got to sophomore year, that's like I feel like morally I was more one of the guys. I was more
Yep.
one of the main guys I needed to lean on, and that ultimately just like gave me confidence, to pitch, just to pitch my best. I mean, day one of my sophomore year, I knew like I was going to be one they really had to lean on, and
Yep.
um, did I know I was going to have as good of a year as I did sophomore year? No, but um, it went really it went really good, and that's
Right.
ultimately why I think I committed to Georgia State just because just to have that bounce back if I didn't have that good of a season. I mean, ultimately, I wanted to have that good of a season, but
Right.
say I got hurt or anything, um, I would have Georgia State to lean back on, because I committed to
Hmm.
them before the season even started.
Right.
Um, and yeah, I mean,
Good.
it was yeah, it was
For sure. For sure. And so now you committed to Georgia State. Some coaching things happened, and you were able to get out of that and go to Georgia
right.
Southern. Walk through. Okay, I'm going to Georgia Southern. Anybody who's from the Southeast knows Georgia Southern is a powerhouse. They've always been.
Right.
They always get great baseball players, and they make it far. What is that like now? You're on Georgia Southern's campus. You have now you're playing against top people in the country. What does that look like for you?
Yeah, I went into like from my freshman year at Spartanburg coming into that school, I would say I went into a totally different, like going into my junior year at my first year at Georgia Southern. I think I went into it with a bit of a just a little chip on my shoulder, just
Right.
to like basically like should have been here
Mm-hmm.
before, should have been
Right.
here before. Yeah, I just went into it with a chip on my shoulder, just like how I did it in JUCO, just try to
Yep.
keep my head on the grind, stay consistent. Um, yeah, and ultimately that kind of, won me you know, the Friday night role. And
Yep.
I would say it was a really reality check just because, we didn't have the conditioning test. We didn't have the strength and conditioning that we had. We didn't have uh, Georgia Southern was really disciplined on everything that we didn't
Yeah.
really have. So, and that was a real eye opener as well.
For sure.
Yeah, just really trying to be fine with everything, just trying to be more, disciplined than I was in JUCO.
For sure. For sure. And now, would you say, because I think I forgot who you guys opened up with your junior year in college. I know you played against East Carolina, and who else did you pitch against that year?
Ball State
Ball
was the
State.
first one. Yeah.
Would you say you definitely saw the difference in competition from top NCAA baseball to junior college in the hitters?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Ball State, yeah, they had a good team. They had a good team. And then also that night, they also ran out I was throwing 96, 97 that I've never seen before. You don't really see
Right.
that much in Go. And then yeah, they had really good hitters. Some of them I'm facing now.
Yep.
At the pro level. And back then, uh, a lot of I'll just say it was a lot of nerves that first game, just because I've never like really been in that situation, never really pitched in that crowd.
Yep.
Didn't really know how it's gonna like I'd been facing, college hitters just because, we've been having inter squads that
Yep.
whole fall, but didn't know I knew my stuff could play, but just didn't know how that first night was gonna go.
For sure.
Yeah, of course I wanted it to be how it went. How it went was
Right.
really good,
I think
for
you got the
sure.
W
But
against Ball State, correct?
yeah,
Yep.
I got the W. I'm just saying I didn't know how it was going to go at the time.
Yeah, for sure.
Going,
Your
it was
nerves.
like, I had a lot of nerves. And I'm glad it went the way it did.
Yeah, for sure. Same here. I mean, and going over that junior year, unfortunately, it was the COVID year, but I think you
Yeah,
started off like 3-1 with a pretty decent ERA, and you had which think they cut around the draft down that year to 5 rounds. Walk me through that draft experience because although it was a short sample, you were able to get some people to look at you. So walk me through that day of the draft, and I already know what happened, but I want you to tell the world what happened that day, um during your draft experience, not when you got drafted, the year before the COVID year draft.
yeah, yeah. That year it was a tough year all around. Just well, good year all around. Uh, just because like you said, I ended up going 3-1. Had a good beginning of the year,
Yep.
but I got cut short due to COVID, and due to COVID, they turned it into 5 rounds. Um, so sorry, I got a little. Can you hear that in the back? I got
It's okay, it's okay, just keep going,
a
you're
little
good.
noise in the back. But yeah, due
Yeah.
to that, they cut it down to 5 rounds. Um, as you were saying, yeah, I still got some people to look at me, but it just that year didn't cut it just due to the 5 rounds. They only had teams only had 5 people to pick, so
Yeah.
um, I was still grateful to have scouts to talk to at the time.
Yep.
Them kind of baiting me into thinking that I was going to go in that 5 rounds, but obviously didn't. But
Yeah. So walk me through that. I think there was a team that they told you that there
yeah,
was a chance they're going to pick you, correct?
yeah, Arizona Diamondbacks were the team that I was the front runner for, and um, they were kind of playing around, but they also were throwing in there that it could be my day to where I went round five through, I mean, 1 through 5.
Yeah.
So, um, it was a lot of high hopes there
Mm-hmm.
to where I thought I was going to go 1 through 5, and building up to that, they're talking to me. So, um,
For sure. For
yeah, I
sure.
mean,
Yeah.
obviously, yeah,
It
sorry.
was a lot. I get it, man. I get it. It was a lot, and I guess after the draft's done, your potentially your dreams of getting drafted, not made got postponed. What was your thought process right after the draft for going into that next year at Georgia Southern?
Well, right after the draft, well, during that, I was still, um, actually, no, that was the first one. That was the first one. But
Hmm.
going into that, just really, yeah, like I'm content on going into my senior year and just really putting my head down and just worrying about that next year. Like I'm going to school. I'm not, because at the time they were really asking for, will I sign for 20K, and I was, me, mom, and daddy were talking about how like that's really not the route that we want to go. I
Hmm.
want to get my degree and
Yep.
go back to Southern, and just have the best year I can have, because I knew like I still would have had technically 2 more years due to COVID, so I
Yep.
would have had another year of leverage after my senior year,
For sure.
and really wanted to go back into that senior year, get my degree and just have the best year I could to so I could really have no questions leading up to that next draft
Definitely.
after.
Definitely. So okay, so let's go into that. Let's go into that senior that last year, your last year of school. So
Yeah.
a lot of hype was around you then. I think you were named preseason pitcher of the year. Am I correct?
I was preseason team,
Yep,
preseason team,
preseason team.
all Sun Belt, yeah,
Yeah, all
preseason.
Sun Belt. Yep, exactly. So going into that year, feeling good, feeling ready to go. And you play the University of Tennessee. That first start, and that's obviously where I spent my 4 years, and I'm a diehard Vol fan, like you can see behind me.
Right.
What was your and you got the opening day start? Um, what was your thought process that day, and walk me through what happened that day and just everything, all the emotions that you went through.
Yeah, for one, I would say, yeah, it was a lot of emotions that week. I mean, I knew as soon as the schedule came out, I knew I'm like, I just got to be ready. I got to be ready.
Yeah,
Week run. I knew off the bat that's the school you went to, and I wanted to be ready for it. And
yeah,
yeah, that week prior to facing Tennessee, yeah, just a lot of nerves, a lot of emotion. Um, and also, I don't, you probably knew about it, but I also had a high ankle sprain that
yeah.
week
I forgot about
going
that.
into,
Yeah, I forgot about
going
that.
into
Yeah.
that game. So, just having to deal with that on top of, the nerves.
Yep.
But yeah, Friday night was definitely a lot of nerves because I wanted to do so good that night. I
Hmm.
wanted to be so perfect,
Yep.
you know, because I knew like all of y'all were gonna be there. I wanted to be so good that it, you know, ultimately ended up, you know, going the complete opposite kind of. Um,
Yeah. Unfortunately, but
yeah, unfortunately, ended up
yeah,
going the complete opposite.
but I will say, to vouch for you, that team, I'm pretty sure that was their first time making a College World Series in,
Yeah,
however long. They had several first rounders on that team,
right.
several draft picks on that team, and some are probably going to be the big leagues here soon. So you weren't facing, that was probably the best lineup 1 through 9 you faced,
Yeah,
in
that
my
was that was
opinion. All of
that was
college, would you
the
say?
double A lineup.
Yeah, yeah. I would say that was probably the best lineup you faced all, your whole entire college career. So
Yeah.
now, okay, so going after that, unfortunately, you got the loss there. Walk me through the rest of that season. What happened? I guess let's just walk through the first half first of that season. What ended up happening with you, and some of the unfortunate events that happened.
Yeah. Well, at the beginning of the season, like our, Coach Hennon, he likes to throw in a lot of powerhouse baseball teams in there.
Yep.
And after Tennessee, it really didn't go my way.
Hmm.
Had a after Tennessee had a couple string of events, a couple string of games that didn't really go my way, and that could kind of put a little toll on my confidence a little
Yeah.
bit. I really never went through anything like that to
Yep.
where uh, I take I want to say the first 3 weekends I take the first three losses,
Hmm.
um, or the first 4 weekends I take the first four losses, and me and the coach had a talk after that, and he was like, you know, we need to see who's gonna you know give us another chance at that spot in the
Yep.
Friday night. And that like I was saying, that really took a toll on me because I really never really went through that before. And I really had to work my way back. I started in midweek games, and honestly, those don't even the first couple didn't really go as planned. And then, well, as the year went on, um, started to build my confidence back. Started to win some games,
Right.
like throughout that season, and then that's when coming down to that last week, that's when Louisiana happened. Louisiana Lafayette happened, and
Yep. Yeah, and going back, and also which kind of sucks is when you did lose that spot, you weren't facing any Joe Schmo. I'm pretty sure you faced Clemson
yeah,
1 week. You
yeah, I
faced
went,
Georgia.
yeah,
right? Yeah. So you faced two
right
power
off the
once
bat.
again. Yeah, they took you out of the weekend rotation and moved you into the midweek as a starting role, and then you faced two Power Five ACC SEC schools. So it still didn't get any easier for you at that moment. And like you
Right.
said, you had to work your way back as hard as possible because I think it was their last several starts of the season. They moved you back into the rotation, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
They moved back into the rotation. I built my way up. They started me out Sunday, then went Saturday. Yeah, and I at the end of that season, I ended up putting up a good few quality starts.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure. And that was some of the best pitching still to this day that I've seen you do.
right.
Because of for one of the mental aspect, like you said. I mean, somebody like you, ever since you were little, confidence has been your thing. That you thrive off the mound with that, and a blind person can see it on the mound when you're confident. You know what I'm saying? So that's always been your thing. So kind of that was like you said, that was your first time honestly getting punched in the mouth. Um,
Right.
especially at the college level after the hype. So it was, and the tough part is that nobody can really help you. It's yeah,
Right.
we can say what we want. I can say what we want. Dad can say what he wants. The coach can say what he wants. But at the end of the day, you are on that island on the mound by yourself, and you have to calm yourself out of that hole. So which was good. I think every athlete needs that. I mean, even for me, and you were there.
Yeah.
My freshman year, I kind of did the same thing as you. It's crazy how our stories are somewhat similar, just
Yeah.
in like different years, in different
From
spaces. Because
15
I came in, yeah, exactly from pitching to hitting. Because I came in at the University of Tennessee with a chip on my shoulder. I really worked my tail off to try and let it be known that I'm good and I can play this game. And for me, what really put a chip on my shoulder my freshman year was whenever it was me and this other guy who were, we opened up against UNLV my freshman year, and me not being on the starting lineup, and they pulled me to the side and gave the reasons why, which is that's the coach's decision. I gotta respect that. But at the end of the day, it's okay. You can either mope about it or you can get better. And
Right.
that freshman year, I ended up, making all SEC conference. So, I had that chip on my shoulder. And then my sophomore year, I was like, hey, I had these goals. I had everything that I wanted to do. I
Right.
want to do X, Y, Z. I'm gonna be the guy. I'm gonna be one of the guys coming in as a sophomore. I'm gonna be starting. And once again, kind of what happened with you, your senior year, it went completely left. um,
Yeah.
Lost my spot, and I think midway during the season I'm batting like 205. Um, not doing well, not doing well at all, and it took a lot to climb out of that and get your spot back, as well as just make sure you're good for the next couple of years. So I completely understand where you're coming from on that side of, hey, you lost your spot,
Yeah.
digging yourself out of that hole, because that's a lot.
It is. It is, and it's almost like who do you run to? Like there's really it's on you. Like it's on you to if you're
Yep.
like because you could give up or you can give up or and have it crash down really fast or you can keep pushing and you know grind back to where you were. So
Exactly, exactly. The person you run to is the man in the mirror. That's who you
right.
run to, because at the end of the day, all you have is yourself to get you out of this. Um, so okay, so let's go back to your senior year again. You had a great couple, 3 or 4 or 5 outings, and you guys go into conference play, and Louisiana Lafayette, like you said, anybody who knows college baseball knows that Lafayette, they are known for their hitting. They are known for hitting. They are really, really good, and they hit bombs. They are good. So, walk me through that start, because that was the game to get to the
Yeah,
championship game, and they put the ball in your hands. So, walk me
it
through
was
that
a
start.
semifinal.
Like, how'd you feel and everything?
It was a semifinal. Going into it, I kind of knew, which was also a little nerve wracking. I knew I was going to pitch that semifinal. Um,
Mm-hmm.
going into it, and I knew Louisiana Lafayette was a really good team, and I knew I needed to perform. And going into it, now looking back at it, it was a really good. It was actually I feel like that was like one of the best starts of my life, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Against Louisiana Lafayette, I ended up going. what was it, 7 innings, giving up 1 run, and yeah, it was a really good show because um, that start showed like all the work that I put in after those starts that I had at
Yep.
the beginning. It showed all the like the grind. It showed the process that I had to go through. It showed the adversity that I had to go through.
Yep.
Everything that I had worked through that season had paid off in that moment, and it was the biggest stage. It was the
Hmm.
biggest like known Louisiana Lafayette. They pack it out. They pack it out, and like we had our little Georgia Southern section, and then we had everything just full of red.
Yep.
Uh,
They travel well. Anybody,
yeah,
all those Louisiana schools, they travel well. So
yeah,
absolutely.
and yeah, the Raging Cajuns they travel and they're rowdy. So
Yep.
yeah, and that was another game eh, like are you gonna give up or are you gonna put in and go right here? And
Yep.
it ended up being one of my best ones, and it was nerve wracking. But after that game, I can say that was one of my best pitch games I've ever had.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. I agree. So, you guys won that game. You end up going to the conference championship. Unfortunately, you guys lose to Southern Alabama.
Yeah,
South Alabama.
South
Yep.
Alabama.
Who was another powerhouse. So, unfortunately, with the season being over, now you have the opportunity to, you know, go back in the draft, see what's going on. And the good thing is, like you said, you had that backup year just in case,
Yeah.
something happened. Um, I'm pretty cool with your agent, and I was there for what you went through. Not physically there, I was living in DC at the time, but walk us through because your story when it comes to getting drafted is absolutely crazy. So if you can just walk us through, your point of view of what happened that draft day.
The second one.
Yeah, the second one. Yep, when you actually got drafted.
Yeah, that was actually a crazy moment because we were there we're in Washington D.C. with you
Yep.
that day. Yeah, it was also I'm actually glad we did it just to like take my mind off things through that week
Yeah.
because it was really nerve wracking knowing that like my life's gonna kind of change in these next the next weekend or
Yep.
so. And yeah, it was actually a crazy story because once I got there, once we got to DC, didn't really worry about it as much, but was
Yep.
receiving some calls like we're interested in you. It was, I think, one of them was the Cubs, and another one again was still the Diamondbacks.
Yep.
They were reaching out to me throughout that week, and as we're going into that day, they're talking to me, and while I'm having a good time with you in DC, and that day it was kind of nerve wracking because we were about to get on the plane to go back to Georgia, to go back
Mm-hmm.
home, and as I'm sitting on the plane, as we're getting ready to take off, JB Jared Brown, he calls me. He's like, hey, do you want to take this in the 10th round? I'm like, yeah, yeah. Hey, pull the trigger. And so, and so, but prior to that, he says the Mariners are going to take you in the 10th round. I'm like, whoa, like I haven't really talked to the Mariners at this time.
Right.
The Mariners are like, this is like the first time I'm hearing from the Mariners. Um, but supposedly they had seen some stuff on me, so
Yep.
they want to take their chance. And yeah, as I'm taking off, it was kind of surprising because I thought it was going to be like the Cubs or the Arizona Diamondbacks to
Yep.
to reach out to me first, but no, it was the Mariners. They wanted to take their chance on me, and as I'm taking off in the plane, um, JB says that I'm like, yeah, pull the trigger, and as we're going down, well, first off, we're going up, and there's a random man sitting beside me. He paid for Wi-Fi, luckily. So
Mm-hmm.
he was like, hey man, you want me to pull it up? I'm like, yeah, sure, pull it up, please. Uh, and we got mom and daddy sitting like I think a row back. I'm me and him we're in the same lane. So
Yeah.
yeah, I see. Eighth round goes by, ninth round. As the 10th round goes by, we're waiting on the Mariners pick. We're waiting on we're waiting on it to go. And as my name get called, I just like we're in the air taking off, and I just take my seatbelt off, and I raise up to mom and dad like I got picked, I got picked. And, like, everybody around me just starts clapping. They like mom and dad are so excited, they're jumping for joy, and then all other people don't know what's going on, but they're also cheering me on. The
Got a
person
whole
in
standing ovation on the
yeah
plane.
yeah, the person with the computer they're clapping,
Yeah,
and as soon as I get down from as soon as I get down from the plane, my phone's just buzzing, it's buzzing nonstop. And
yep,
and one of the calls is you know the guy that picked me. So
yeah,
it's so
for sure. Man. Yeah, that was a crazy day because I was on the way to baseball lessons, and I had the draft pulled up like on my phone, and I was like,
yeah,
okay, like, I'm looking at the Mariners, and I'm like, okay, like let's just hope they get a call, and it said, um, Mariners select Jordan Jackson and Georgia Style. I was like, yes! Like while driving,
yeah,
I was free. I was like shaking the steering wheel because I'm going crazy. Probably wasn't the safest thing, but it is
yeah,
what it is. And then JB called me after. He's like, "Yo, we did it. We got him. We got our man's got picked." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah, man, got picked. Got picked." Um,
yeah,
oh man, I was turned. I was turned for that. That was such a great, experience just because of knowing everything you went through
right,
that year. And I know you wanted this. I know you wanted this. You
yeah,
wanted this for the past couple of years. So the fact that it actually happened and you were about to become a Mariner is was so surreal. And you were
right.
able to sign. And that first year, I mean, because you pitched a lot, that Georgia Southern year. So that basically that first year, you just worked out at the complex, correct?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I just they just that year they just wanted to shut me down.
Yeah.
My main two goals were to just well, my main first goal was just to get bigger. They
Yep.
just wanted to get bigger and work out every day, which honestly was like I wanted to throw, but it was a blessing in disguise that I
Absolutely.
just got
Took
to
that
work out
time.
there 5 or 6 days a week. And it worked. It was really good for me just to hammer the strength and conditioning standpoint and the mobility stuff as well.
Yep.
So
For sure, for sure. And then going into your second year of pro ball, they assigned you to low A Modesto. And I think you threw how many innings did you throw last year?
um, I ended up throwing 120 innings.
I
Yeah,
mean, that's by far the most you've ever thrown in your life in
yeah,
one season.
that is by far because in college, I want to say my senior year, I ended up throwing what 80 to 85, and
Yeah,
that's a half maker to what I did in
exactly,
in
exactly. So you threw a lot of innings, which was good though because that
yeah,
showed you how for in the minors in pro ball, the biggest thing for pitchers is first lasting. I mean, you
yeah,
gotta be able to get out there and pitch and prove to them that you can pitch that amount of time, which you've done, which is great. Um, and you really had a great year last year. You know, this year you've dealt with a couple injuries, but toward the end of the season, you guys, just clinched. How do you feel some of the adversity that you've went through in the past at junior college or Georgia Southern or whatever has helped you, deal with this year when it comes to an injury aspect?
yeah. I definitely feel like I definitely feel like college has helped me a lot because I feel like a high schooler in this standpoint going like say I took the draft, out of high school, like going through
Mm-hmm.
this, like it would be really like it's really hard on me now. Like it would be really
Yeah.
hard on high school going into it. So I'm glad that I went through college, and I went through a little bit of adversity in college to
Yep.
to help me out with what's going on right now.
Yep.
Um, yeah, this is like a different type of adversity. This is like more morally of a not really healthy standpoint, but
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm glad that I've had Spartanburg Methodist and Georgia Southern to help me out just to on the recovery standpoint because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I really like that, like Georgia Southern really helped me out with the recovery of like when I get hurt, like I need to, bear down on this stuff this week, or like
Mm-hmm.
I need to, take care of my arm this week. So it was a big help to, know that I had Georgia Southern that, really prepared me for this year going
Right.
through my arm injury.
For sure, for sure. And then another question. So I guess for me, my first, and my mom can tell you this, that my first like weekend of pro ball, we were playing in Batavia, New York, with I think they had 53 fans. The hotels we stayed in were awful, but let's just say
Yeah.
they were awful. And the adjustment going from SEC baseball, like just great hotels, great food, to going to this in short season, it was shocking. It was shocking. So for you, how would you feel that, because it seemed like the guys that I know that went through that junior college route, they adapted better. How would you feel
Yeah.
junior college helped you adapt to pro ball and some of this the grind you have to go through?
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Like, um, JUCO definitely helped me with like Modesto is like the definition of gritty. Like it's a
Yeah,
definition. Like, we're wearing one jersey. We wore one jersey for 132 games. Like we wore one jersey, and then we switched with we switched with white pants for home games and
yeah.
gray pants away. But we stayed in one, and it was an all black jersey
The
at that.
Dolphins with the black jersey.
Yeah, it was an all black jersey at that. So that it Modesto definitely taught grittiness, but also going through JUCO, like that was like my first grittiness. Like that was my first like eye on grittiness. So I knew going into Modesto, I would be ready because
Yeah,
JUCO is as gritty as it gets,
yeah,
and I felt like I was really prepared. I mean, because I know in JUCO we weren't getting the many fans. We were getting 50 fans as well. So I knew
yep,
going into Modesto that that's a okay for me,
yeah,
and I knew we were going to get those we're going to get a lot of fans on the away games as well. So
yeah.
because um, we didn't have the best stadium, we didn't have the best location on the stadium.
Right.
You know, homeless people walking around our stadium. So
Yeah.
um, yeah,
That a lot of people don't realize that. A lot of people don't realize that. Like they think once you get to minor leagues, it's just all great. Well, it's like no, like once you get to the big leagues, it's great, and even like
yeah,
AAA. But those those first couple of years in the minors when you're in short season or low A or even high A, I mean you're thankfully with the Cardinals we had some decent spots, but like I said, I mean my first year we played in Batavia, New York, which was just it's not even it's not even, they don't have a minor league team there anymore. We played in
yeah,
Auburn. We played in a lot of places, Auburn, New York. We played in a lot of places that you're just like, what in the world? Why do they have teams here? Um,
right,
but if anything, it helps you learn like, hey, do I actually want this? And that's the biggest thing. It helps you learn, do you actually want this? Um, and then for you, so when it comes to back to junior college, would you advise? 'Cause I think a lot of kids, especially nowadays, it's the social media age. Everybody, you'll have a guy batting 220 and he'll post his home run
right.
on social media.
Mhm.
Or you'll have a guy that never gets any playing time. They try to make themselves seem better than what they are. Do you think junior college and even D1 ball helped you when it comes to that mentality of hey, put my head down and go
Yeah,
when you get to pro ball?
like looking back at it, I think JUCO like was the best decision for me in that
Yeah.
standpoint. Just like because I've seen in JUCO, you'll see a lot of people like come and go. Like you'll
Yep.
see a lot of people just like, is this really for you? Or and if this really for you, you need to put your head down. And
Yep.
you know, um, and some people, they thought it wasn't really for them, so that ultimately made them quit baseball. And I feel like, yeah, that was like the real eye opener for me. I had to like put my head down and keep going.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean,
For
and then
sure.
ultimately it helped me in the long run. It helped me for Georgia Southern, it helped me for pro ball. So
exactly. And now going back, do you feel like you would have done well if you went? Let's just say you got drafted out of high school. Do you think you would have done well?
I don't think so. I mean,
Yeah,
I just at the time wasn't
yeah,
as disciplined, didn't know any better, didn't know much about like just like off the field stuff, didn't know much about like recovery,
yeah,
those side of things. Like I feel like if I would have went out at high school, that would have like didn't really know much about like the mental toughness part of it. So that
for sure.
I really feel like I would have been twisted like mentally
Yeah,
going in.
for sure. And also the frequency of you pitching. I mean, in high school, you
Yeah,
pitch,
yeah, that
you
as
know,
well.
that's the biggest thing. You might pitch, 4 or 5 innings once a week, where in, pro ball, you're pitching 5 to 6 innings once every 5 days. I mean that,
Every
and
5 days.
and in high school, you're only going from February to May,
Right.
or at the end of February, and in pro ball, you're going from technically with spring training, you're throwing from February to September.
In
You know
timber.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So that's a
Right.
lot of wear and tear on the body, and that's why I think I forgot who it was, but they were telling me how when they got done with the season, they took like a month and a half off, and I'm like, I can't even picture taking a month and a half off of doing anything. But after that first year, I was like, man, I need my time because your body needs to, like you said, the recovery aspect. I mean, that's everything. And then for you, it's like, hey, how can I get from this start to my next start and feel
Right.
as good as I possibly can? Because some days you're gonna feel great, some days you're gonna feel okay, and some days you're gonna feel crappy. So you're gonna pitch great on those days that you feel great, and you're gonna pitch okay
Yeah.
on those days you feel okay. But how do you? And you know it too with you. And we always talk after your starts. You say, I knew this or that on those days that you feel crappy, and you're facing a team. How do you get through that?
Um, really, you like, and you really just got to go out there with all you got at
Yeah.
that day. I mean, you might not, especially in the dog days of the season. Like you're not going to be feeling the
Hmm.
best. You're not going to be feeling the best at all, and you just got to go out there with what you got at the time. Um, like the people in our rotation right now, me as well. Like we're like a lot of us aren't feeling the best, but
Yeah.
we can do with what we got, and
Exactly.
that earned us like a playoff spot. So
For sure.
yeah, and just like really hammering, I would say hammering recovery that week, just really getting your body ready to for whatever your 100% is. Like your
Exactly.
100% could be uh 80 that week, but you got to make sure you
100%.
get there. You just got to make sure you get there for that start. Um, and you just got to make sure you're consistent day by day, leading up to that start to
Absolutely.
have you ready.
Absolutely. And I'm so funny you say that because I tell this to all my like I do with my hitting and outfield lessons. I tell them, I'm like, look, like, this is a game, this is a grind game, man. I'm not asking you for 100% every single day. I'm asking for 100% of what you got. So if you only got
Yeah.
60% today, give me that 60%. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or if you got 80%, give me that 80%. Give me 100% of that 80%. So the fact that you just said that, that kind of wraps up, what it is when you get to pro ball, and honestly even college, because in college, especially as a hitter, for us when we faced if I had a tough midweek, and then that next day we got to face Vanderbilt or University of Florida, it's like, well, there's it's either I'm playing or I'm not. So I don't have time to be like, oh well, I got to get this and that. Like, no, you got to get on the ball because we got games we got to win. Um,
Right.
so it's cool that it's actually you say that. You got to give me, whatever percent, 100%, whatever percent you have. Um,
Yeah.
and then last question here before we get into our quick takes. But I personally wanted to know this question. So you were there with me through everything that I've been through. With
Yeah.
the draft out of high school, choosing the college, everything I went through in college, pro ball. You were there through everything. How did it help you having me as an example, or like just being a couple years ahead of you? How did that help you through your process, like seeing what I went through with everything, the good and the bad?
Yeah. It helped me a lot because some people don't have that guy to ask questions to. Like
Yeah.
I had you to ask questions to. Like because you knew like you went through it first. You knew everything more about the draft process than me. So
Yeah,
it was good that I had you to like bounce ideas off of and pick your brain about stuff, just so I'm, you know, very aware of what I'm going into.
yeah,
Like with each thing, like, well, yeah, well, of course we didn't take like, you didn't do like the JUCO route, and you went
right,
to
right,
you got to experience that. But yeah, it was actually it was a big help because um each event that I went through out of my years, like I got to like ask you about stuff like, hey,
for sure.
how is this gonna go? Like, how is this draft gonna go?
Yeah,
Like, how is Georgia Southern gonna go? How is D1 baseball gonna go? Like,
yep,
you like I was not just like the draft and pro stuff. Like I got to bounce ideas off of you, like the college standpoint,
yeah,
like Tennessee go, like is it going to be that intense, me coming out of JUCO, like just
hmm
stuff like that, and I'm glad that I had you there for it.
for
So
sure, man, for sure. No, and I'm glad to see everything with you gone through where you're at now because it's a blessing to see um where
yeah,
you because I knew you always had the potential. You know what I'm saying? And it's good to see you step into that and become who you are and the being able to pitch and just do everything you're doing and with your changeup and your curveball and your fastball. You seeing your velo where it's at is crazy. Um, all of it. And a lot of people don't know we come from a very rich baseball family. We
yeah,
have a lot of people in our family who
yeah,
have played baseball or softball. I mean, people don't like realize what sandlot baseball was. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like that
People,
is.
people,
Go ahead.
yeah. No, I'm saying, yeah. People don't know how competitive like Sandlot would like when I say Sandlot to somebody, like I don't even like to say it to somebody because
They don't
like
know.
they don't know how competitive it is in
Yeah.
our family. There's people out there that are we got like there are some big boppers out there.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely, man. Absolutely. And it's so funny because I remember growing up, I remember there was a time period where I didn't care about playing professional ball. I didn't care about playing college ball.
yeah,
All I wanted to do was get out on the mound and pitch in the Sandlot game.
yeah,
And that was everything to me. I will never forget that experience because that's what we know growing up, the Sandlot. And it was so funny. My first time ever pitching in the Sandlot, Uncle Mike put me out in the Sandlot, and I
yeah.
got the pitch, and I took the first guy out, and I was like, I was feeling myself. I was 14 too. I thought I was feeling myself, and this dude about 6'5", 260 pounds. Just pants falling off his butt, just walking up all slouched. And I'm like, oh, I'm about to get this dude. Mind you, I didn't know this dude had played minor league ball for like 10 years and, it was swinging a size 36 bat. Man, I throw this dude a fastball and the ball went it couldn't have, it had to been more than 450 feet. It
Boss
had
throwing
to.
you out.
And exactly. And this man, Uncle Mike, talking about some, I looked at, he goes, welcome to the Sandlot. Go, welcome to the Sandlot. And I'm
Yeah,
like, okay, like whatever. But Sandlot, but like it just goes into detail of like how we have baseball's in our genes. Like it's funny
no,
because both our parents played college basketball.
yeah,
Um, but compared to like our uncles, our cousins, we have several guys who have played in pro ball already. We have several people who have played college baseball and college softball. I mean, Brittany Leverett, well, another one of our cousins, I think she held the Columbus State home run record for several years. I think it just got broken. Um, so it just shows that we're coming from a baseball rich family, which is great because we have all of us. But it was good with me and you to be in the same house, and I can see what you were going through, and you saw what I was going through, which is great
right.
for sure. Well, good man. So, all right, well, we're gonna wrap this up. Just a couple quick hitter questions, rapid fire, and you answer away, and we'll go from there. Okay. Um,
Can I close this window right quick? I'm gonna close this window just right quick, if that's fine.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, there's just a lot of racket outside. Just a
It's
lot
all
of noise.
good. It's all good. So, first question: in high school, did you think you would be where you at now? Where you're at now?
In high school, I would actually say um yes to some extent, just
Yeah,
because I had this goal in mind. Like this was a goal of mine coming out of
right,
high school. I will say at that point when I was going JUCO, like did it kind of dwindle a little bit? Yes, just because like I didn't know where the JUCO route would take me at the time,
right,
but I knew it was a second chance to. I knew it was a second chance to go, D1.
for
But
sure.
yeah, like overall, I would say yes, that it
Good,
was one of my main goals, and I wanted to accomplish that with all my willpower. So,
good, good. And what would 24-year-old Jordan say to 17-year-old Jordan?
uh, I would say, like we've been talking about this whole podcast, I would say, just keep your head down, and like everything will be okay. Like, knowing the route that 17-year-old Jordan was going to take,
Yeah,
and um, just that if he, kept his head down, that he would like everything's going to be fine. I mean, everything that he needed to accomplish will, eventually, hopefully, will get accomplished if he just keeps his head down. So,
for sure, for sure, for sure. All right, third question, kind of funny one. If you were facing me in my prime, what are you throwing to me to strike me out? What's the sequence?
in your prime, huh?
What's the
In your
sequence?
prime, are we talking? What swing are we talking here?
Yeah, because I've had a lot.
What stance are
Uh,
we talking here? Are
I've
we
had
talking?
50, 11. I have 50, 11 of them. So let's
Yeah,
go. Let's go.
senior
That
year senior year standing up
let's
one,
let's
or
go senior year of college, standing up, straight up.
senior college. I'm Well, first off, I think I'd start you off with a. Well, you like it inside a little bit, so I'd start you off with a change up because that's my specialty is change ups.
Yeah.
I'm going away change up for the first one. Then I'd probably mix in a front hip sinker in there just to back you off the plate, just to
Okay.
get you out of the way. Um, I don't know. I think I'll definitely stay just because you're standing up so tall in that stance. I
Yeah.
definitely say I'm going back to the change ups in there.
Okay.
I know rhythm's your best thing, so I know trying
Yeah.
to throw your rhythm off is like my best. Is like my best.
Best
Is
thing
what
to go
I
to
Yeah, best thing to go to is what I
for
think I'd
sure.
get you at.
Okay. All right. So let's go. Let's
I'm not mixing in a bat foot slider because that's getting hit off the foul pole. So,
okay.
you're
All
taking
right.
that 110 exit velo off the foul pole. So.
Okay. I'm glad you know. I'm glad you know. So okay. What about minor league swing when I'm with the toe with the when I'm a little bit more crouched and at the leg lift?
With the crouch, see that's why I was asking what stands with the crouch.
Yeah.
I You're getting to that change up. You're taking that change up 410 oppo side. So
Okay.
I think I'm going a little bit. I think I'm going with a high fastball just
Okay.
because you're a little bit crouching over the plate. So I'll definitely try and
Get the eye level.
bust you in. Yeah, definitely try and bust you in on the eye level, like inside, like fastball, get you off
Okay.
the plate. And I also feel like a slider would work in that situation. Hopefully, if I got it in on you a
Uh
little bit
huh.
more than usual, like because I know you can get your hands in there on those.
Okay.
So I know if I put a slider a little bit in on you, then I think I'd be able to get away with it. But you
Okay.
know,
Okay. Cool.
that's
All right.
somewhere in that range of stuff. So
Okay. All right. And last question. Last question. Who do you want to see on Faith Fitness and Fastballs to tell their story? But whoever you decide to choose, you have to help me with.
okay, um, in my eyes, and a really good one I think would be Dad. You
Okay.
know, I think yeah, I think he would be a really good one because he's seen both. He's seen both perspectives. Like
Absolutely.
he's seen point of views from both of us. He's seen like what happened. How it went through with you.
Yep.
How I also went through it. And I mean he called the shots when we were little. So
Yeah.
he just picking his brain about stuff, and I feel like good for the podcast just to like talk to like talk to him about how like as two black sons how we
Yeah,
had to go when we were younger,
absolutely.
how much of it how it was a little struggle,
Yeah,
there was a lot of struggle there. So
for sure.
I feel like it would be a good one to have on
For
the podcast.
sure. I agree. I think I would love to hear his perspective on like, you know, going taking me through the process of high school and college and pro ball compared to you because it's two of the same paths with high school, college, pro ball, but
Right.
completely different things.
Yeah.
So I agree. I agree. We gonna get him on here. We're gonna get him on
Yeah,
here.
we'll
So
get him on here.
yeah,
He's
for
definitely
sure.
gonna have to make an appearance, at least for 10 to 15 minutes. He
Yeah,
got to.
well, it gotta be. It could be
Yeah.
quick. It could be quick. But well, cool, man. Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate you being on here, brother. I love you so much, man, and
Yeah.
very proud of everything you've been going through, and it's getting drafted, and going through your pro career and getting your degree. I'm really proud of you of that, man. And although you're a little brother, I look up to you a lot as well. So I appreciate you being on
Likewise.
here.
Likewise. Yeah, I'm really glad you had me on here. It was a blast getting to talk to you. We never really get to sit down, and have like talks like this. And
Yep,
I'm glad I was, one of your first guests to have on here, and it was a good experience
for
for
sure.
sure.
We had a good time.
Oh,
We had a good.
I mean, maybe we could, have another one.
Well, yeah,
Maybe,
this ain't this. I plan on doing this for a while, so this ain't gonna be the last time
yeah,
you on here. Um,
yeah.
once you make it to the big leagues, we gotta walk through that day also. So, well, cool, man. Well, I appreciate you. This is it for the episode of Faith, Fitness, and Fastballs. I appreciate you guys joining in. This will be on YouTube. Like and subscribe. I appreciate you guys. Y'all take care. Have a good one.
Thank you.